Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 132 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben and Joey. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Well, my body's hurting a little bit, but that was a crazy game we just watched. Something I didn't expect.
Nope, not at all. Ben, how are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm really pleased about a Game 7 finally.
Yes, sir. This NBA Finals are going to a Game 7, and we are going to dissect what happened exactly in yesterday's Game 6 before previewing, the two best words in sports, Game 7, and we get it in the NBA Finals. So before we get into that, let's get into Pirtle. Now, over the computer, we've done a pretty good job on Pirtle recently. In person, not so much, but we've been on a pretty good run recently on Pirtle. So let's see how we can do today. I'm picking the player today, and I'm going to go with Tristan Thompson, the only player remaining that has played in a finals game, or in the last finals Game 7. At least on the Cavaliers. So let's see what Tristan Thompson can get us. Eastern Conference, not a center, not in the Central Division, shorter than 6'7", younger than 32, and it's going to have a higher jersey number. So let's see what we can get with this, man.
At least we got the conference right.
Yep. And high jersey number. That narrows out a couple of options. There's so many players we could guess in this scenario.
Yeah, what you thinking?
Let's see. Ben, you have any guesses? You have any ideas?
Well, not really yet. But we'll guess somebody. It's a lot of guys. That's true.
Yeah, wing player or a guard. I guess the next point is figuring out what division and what position this guy plays.
It's going to be smaller than 6'7", so as well. So it's probably going to be a wing guard.
Yes. Okay. Maybe. Oh, geez. I'm trying to think of guards that wear high jersey numbers. It's not a lot.
It's not common. That's why I'm struggling a little bit.
Maybe we go with a guy that was recently traded and may not be updated yet. Cole Anthony.
Ooh, good idea. I'm in.
From the Orlando Magic. Let's go forward and see what we get here. Hopefully he hasn't actually been updated yet. No, he hasn't. Okay, Southeast Division is going to be, let's see, either 6'5" or 6'6", 26 or 27 years old. So this is going to be a wing player in the Southeast Division. Feels like we've gotten a lot of Southeast guys recently.
Not on Orlando. So Charlotte, Miami, Atlanta, and
Washington.
Washington, yeah.
26 or 27 years old, a wing player. Okay, I think we could get this in 3. Let's see, man. Miami Heat. No, he's not going to be that young. I was thinking of Alec Burks, but not going to work for this one.
Oh, no. He's closer to 30.
Oh, yeah. I think he's probably over. He's definitely over.
He's definitely over 30.
Let's see. Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets don't have a whole lot of taller people.
Yeah, that are gonna fit the age.
Yeah.
Washington Wizards.
Thinking possibly Karis LeVert from the Hawks, but I kind of forget his jersey number.
I think he's also around 30.
Is he?
Oh,
I believe so. I don't think he's that young anymore at this point.
Yeah.
That's not bad though. I was thinking about Karis LeVert as well, but I think he still also wears the number 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on Miles Bridges' number? What number is he?
He's 0.
Oh yeah,
that's good. I was thinking of him too because he's.
I was thinking
I'm just going through
Josh Green of the Hornets, but I think his jersey number is lower too.
See, Josh Green isn't bad. I think he is single digits though. We're ruling out a lot of guys, so there's got to be somebody.
Yeah, could be
Gotta be
someone
somebody.
that we haven't heard of much before. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, if it's one of those end of the bench guys.
That's where I struggle. I'm like, I know I used to pay attention way more, but now it's much harder the older you get,
Dang.
especially with
Miami
the younger guys.
Miami Heat. No, it's not going to be. Geez, it's not any of those guys. It's not Terry Rozier. It's not Duncan
No.
Robinson.
Gee,
Atlanta.
it's hard.
This is hard. What is going
Yeah,
on?
I'm blanking.
I'm blanking on players. Charlotte.
too.
All right, well, I guess I'll go through across the board. Atlanta Hawks. It's not going to be. George Niang is too old.
He's not that old, is he?
George Niang. Well, I also think he's not 6'6". Isn't he like 6'7", 6'8"?
Oh yeah, closer to that.
I don't know if Terrence Mann is still the number 14, but he's in Atlanta and he would fit the wing. We're coming up on so many blanks. I think that's probably the best thing we can get right now. Maybe we could get the team.
Yeah, literally.
All right, let's see. Terrence Mann. Okay. He is number 14 still. All right. So we've ruled out the Hawks. So it's either the Hornets, the Wizards, or the Heat.
And he's a wing. 6'6".
No, Marcus Smart is not that young still.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah, he's not on the Wizards.
Oh my gosh, he is. I completely forgot.
Hornets.
Man, this is hard.
Hornets. It's not going to be Seth Curry. It's not.
I have no idea who's on Charlotte. I'll be honest.
Charlotte Hornets, man. Yeah, we got the two worst teams in the Eastern Conference trying to figure out these guys here. Man, that wears a high-ish jersey.
How old is Corey Kispert? What?
Oh,
Kispert's,
you know what?
Kispert's
You
a
know
great
what?
guess.
That might be it. That might be right on the money.
Oh my gosh.
Corey Kispert.
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh my
Way
Yeah.
to go, Ben.
Thank
Wow,
you,
we were
Ben.
blanking.
Sorry to Corey Kispert. Very big fan of Corey Kispert's game. Don't know how I forgot about him, man. Corey Kispert in 4. Let us know how long it took you guys to get Corey Kispert. Shout out to Ben for getting
Thank
us
you,
that
Ben.
one. We would have been sitting here for ages. But now we can move on and talk about Game 6 of the finals, where the Pacers put on an incredible two-way performance to even up the series at 3 games apiece. 108-91 was the final score, 17-point victory. But it wasn't even that close with the way that the Pacers just were incredible. After the Thunder, came out strong. They had a 10-2 lead to start the game. Then Indiana just turned it up. And specifically in the second quarter, they went on a 36-9 run. It actually spanned from the second to the third quarter, where they really couldn't miss a shot and the Thunder couldn't score because of the Pacers defense. So the first question I've got for you guys, Joey, let's start with you. If you could describe this Pacers performance tonight in one word, how would you describe it?
Complete. It was an absolute complete performance. It was a fun first quarter. It was pretty back and forth, but you could tell the Pacers were feeling a little bit of something. Started off a little rough, but they quickly got it together. Their bench guys and all the role guys just hit buckets after buckets throughout the entire game. Halliburton looking better. Everybody played their well. Their leading scorer, I'm looking at it, is Obi Toppin, right?
Yep.
Like, he had a fantastic game. Nemhard, Siakam only had 16, but he shot great. Or not really great, 60 for 14. Sorry, I was looking at the different numbers. But Nemhard shot, I don't know. Everybody just kind of played great. They kind of did what they had to do. Like, this is kind of what I expected out of this game. This was win or go home in front of their home crowd. I was expecting this kind of performance. I just didn't expect it to get to like a 30-point difference. That was kind of shocking how hot and how cold Oklahoma City got. But huge props to the Pacers because they played a complete game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it. Ben, how about you? If you could describe this game from the Pacers in one word, how would you describe it?
Ooh, I'll say that it was dominant. Complete would have been my first one, but dominant's still a good one because I mean, the Pacers, did pretty much dominate the Thunder for the best part of this game, except for like early on, but it was just domination from like the second quarter on, really. Um, Pacers were just much better with taking care of the basketball in this game, and they played well offensively, did what they needed to do there, and they really played some great defense. TJ McConnell, once again, he was phenomenal defensively, getting more steals.
Yeah, they were all just incredible, and it was incredibly fun to watch as well. That's why my word for this Pacers performance is gorgeous. This was so amazingly beautiful to watch. Joey in our group chat when this run was going on, after the first half, what'd you say, Joey? That was about as Spurs-esque as you've ever seen.
It very much was. I remember the play exactly. It was a steal. Halliburton almost went out of bounds and got the steal. So he played great defense. And then no dribbles, 3 passes. Halliburton inside. And then I don't even remember who it was in the corner, but it was a quick pass right to him. No dribbles. Corner 3, swish. It was what I remember back in the day watching the starters, Lee Ellis's solid play of the night or whatever. That would have been his play of the night because that was just absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, like you said. Ball doesn't even touch the ground.
Yeah, it was amazing. There were so many of those plays. I mean, everything just looked so crisp as well. I mean, it was just amazing. You look at the stat sheet, I mean, 23 assists. It's nothing crazy, but I mean, it was just amazing how they were moving the basketball. Again, everyone was getting involved. Let's see here. 7 players score at least 7 points. I mean, that's just big time. In an elimination game on your home floor, final home game of the season, the Pacers gave their fans a treat and some incredible plays as well. I mean, the top play that everyone's going to be talking about was off of another turnover, I believe, the no look from Tyrese Halliburton into Siakam for the poster on Jalen Williams to really, put an exclamation point on their run in the second quarter. And, we're talking about the offensive plays that the Pacers made, and a lot of their guys played great. Once again, it starts on the defensive end where, again, for this, I think, let me see, I have it written down here, over a 12-minute and 47-second stretch. So over a quarter, OKC scored 9 points. 9 points for the best team in the NBA over about a 13-minute stretch. And the Thunder they reverted back to the ISO ball that we saw a lot from them on the road in games 3 and 4. And it resulted in bad shots, the Thunder turning it over a bunch. They had 21 turnovers. And, after getting off to a rough start from 3, they just couldn't hit a shot, like you were saying, Joe. I mean, it wasn't like they were getting a lot of great open looks, but even the few times they got an open shot, it just wasn't going in because there was no rhythm to the offense.
I was going to say, you can point to it however you want, but like I remember after the live pod when we talked about it, I hated how Shea had those 4 assists to 6 turnovers, and then the last game we did the live pod, he had a great game to the turnover ratio, and it was a huge part. Today it was 2 assists to 8 turnovers. It's the same thing when we say the same thing when we talk about the Pacers when they lose. It's plain as day. When Halliburton isn't aggressive and he doesn't have it going, they lose. When Shea, it's the assist to turnover. He is so good at getting other people and his teammates involved. And when he's not doing that or making bad plays, because 8 turnovers is so bad, man. But you also have to give props to the Pacers defense because out of all those turnovers, you could have said the Thunder just throwing the ball out of bounds or charge, playing loosely and just doing stupid stuff. The Pacers had 16 steals. It's not like a lot of those turnovers were unforced errors.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that a lot of these turnovers were just, unforced errors and the Thunder were just giving away. It was the Pacers defense that allowed them to get it off into transition. And the Pacers were really playing like the Thunder defensively. We're what we've been used to seeing the Thunder do all season long. It was the Pacers that were doing it. And Ben, this first half was the first half all season long, I believe, where OKC didn't get a steal in the first half. So I mean, it was just something like we haven't really seen. And that second quarter, it was one of the worst we've seen from the Thunder this year.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they were struggling that much in the second quarter because throughout the first quarter they, looked fine, but then the second quarter, I mean, they turned it over more. Relied too much on the ISO ball and just really, we're not too good offensively. Them not being too good offensively started the second quarter, just held the back and helped the Pacers jump up to a huge lead, but they weren't great defensively either, the Thunder. They gave up a lot of Pacer points as well in the second quarter. So really just, yeah, I couldn't believe I was surprised by how things just fell apart for the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, like Joey said, I was not surprised with the Pacers winning this game and how well that they played. I was surprised with how poor the Thunder played, and that's in a chance to win a championship, on the road. I mean, this is still a young team. This is still the youngest team in the entire league, I believe. So they're going through all these things, of course, for the first time. But it just stinks to have a performance like this in such a high magnitude. I mean, now you go into the winner go home game 7, which we'll get to in a little bit. And, anything can happen. That's the great thing about those types of games. Anything can happen. And, we're not really going to know what's going to happen until it happens. For the Pacers side of things, defensively, they were amazing. Siakam, he didn't shoot the best, but the shots that he made were big. I mean, the 16 points, he had 13 rebounds. He had 5 offensive rebounds, which were big to give the Pacers second chance opportunities. And well, I guess the big thing we have to talk about for the Pacers is Tyrese Halliburton, where after game 5, where he didn't make a field goal, 0 for 6 in like 33 minutes, we were talking on the podcast on how he had to have re-aggravated his left leg injury. Comes out the next day that he strained his calf, which is normally a week-long type of injury that you need to rest and recover from. But of course, it's game 6 and game 7 now, the finals for a championship. You got to gut through it and play. You don't know when you're ever going to get back here. So I was very curious to see how he was going to look. And, to start the game, he started off like 0 for 4, something like that. But he was being aggressive. He was taking it to the rim. And like we've talked about, even if the shots aren't going in to start, when he's aggressive, good things happen for Indiana. And we saw that tonight.
Yeah, he only took 12 shots, but again, that's the same amount of shots TJ took. It's second most to Pascal Siakam tonight. So like he was still shooting it pretty balanced with everybody else, it seemed. But it's the aggressiveness as well as taking the shots, which is great. But just him having the ball in his hand and running that offense just was so much better. He had a plus 25 and only 5 assists. And like you said, only 12 shots. Like you would think a plus 25 would be way more, but his defense and just the way he ran the offense and everybody was movement. It was a great thing to see from him. And it didn't really look like the injury bothered him a whole lot. Maybe that was just a good night's rest at home that did it, but it was good to see.
Yeah, he looked a little hobbled like right at the start of the game, but after that, he looked fine. He looked fine afterwards. He looked, great. And Ben, such a big thing about the Pacers winning this in the fashion that they did, where it was a full fourth quarter of, basically garbage time, was that Halliburton didn't have to play for the final, 17 minutes of the game, which, is great that he didn't have to play that much going into this game 7 on Sunday.
Yeah. Pacers, and how well they played to definitely appreciate that for Halliburton, and that's huge going into Game 7. Now, Tyrese Halliburton, that was one full game he's going to need to play where he's going to need to, play hard and try to be aggressive and help his team hopefully win a championship in Game 7, even after suffering this. So, yeah, that's big. And same for other guys like Siakam. It's good that they got some more rest because of how well they did, and that should help them too. Being able, to keep pushing throughout Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they played, it allowed those guys to get rest. As a starting unit, everyone was great. I mean, even Turner didn't shoot the ball well, but he was amazing defensively once again. But also the way that their bench came in. And once again, we talked Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell. My goodness, man. Obi Toppin led the game with 20 points, led the Pacers with 20 points, hit 4 threes. Came out right from the get-go off the bench, was knocking down threes. TJ McConnell stuffing the stat sheet. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals for basically the oldest and smallest guy out there on the court for either team. Joey, once again, he's just been unbelievable. TJ McConnell performing like this in an NBA Finals elimination game.
Now, I really don't want to say it, but it's very reminiscent of kind of like how the Warriors won in 2015 and Iguodala seemed to have been the LeBron stopper, but it wasn't that he was just stopping LeBron because LeBron still had those great games in those finals, and he was just our entire team back in the day. But every time he is out there, he makes such an impact. Just his energy, stuffing the stat sheet, doing every little thing, putting his body on the line, being the oldest and most experienced guy in the entire or on the court and basically in the entire both teams, besides like James Johnson on their team, who had my favorite moment today in the game, just coming in for a couple minutes and then getting ejected immediately. My favorite. But TJ McConnell, I have no words. It's the guy that every single team wants, like every single player, any team wants. Like, he just does everything that's asked and more, and just inspires everybody. And we saw it in almost every game that the Pacers kind of have won, at least in the final so far. It's him and somebody else. Like, he is there, and it's almost like he's a Robin to someone else's Batman on the bench unit. One game it was Benedict Mathurin. This game it's Obi Toppin. But they just click. He gets the entire bench in the second unit going as one. And it's it's phenomenal to watch, honestly. It's very inspiring as someone who's just watching it on the couch. But I could only imagine how his teammates feel about him, and I guarantee you'll hear everybody talk about it, regardless of whether they win or lose. They wouldn't have made it to a Game 7 without him.
Yeah, there's no question about it. He has been one of the MVPs of that team and really of this series. He's not going to win the thing, of course, but he's been absolutely, incredible, changing the game for his team. On OKC side of things, really no one had that great of a game. No one really had it. I mean, Shea, 21 points. You mentioned 8 turnovers, 7 of 15 from the field. J-Dub had 16 points on 6 of 13 shooting, minus 40.
Minus 40.
Yeah, Chet Holmgren, not a good game from him. I love the way that he started the game. He was aggressive taking it to the rim, but then just nothing was working after the Pacers through that initial punch, he really wasn't much of a threat on the floor. Really, the only guy that played well, or I guess two guys were, I thought Hartenstein was good in the third quarter, trying to bring the Thunder back a little bit. He cut like the 24-point lead down to 18 before the Pacers went on their run to end the third quarter. And Isaiah Joe had 11 points, hit a couple threes. He might be someone that gets some burn in game 7 because they need the shooting. I mean, they finished 8 of 30 from 3 in this game, but again, a lot of that was in the fourth quarter. So let me see here. They were 8 for 30 for the entire game, and they hit 5 of 10 in the fourth quarter with their bench unit. So let's see. They shot 3 for 20 from downtown when it was a game, and in game 4, they were able to win shooting 3 of 17 from 3 and the ridiculous low assist numbers, just 11 assists. It's hard to replicate that again. They only had 14 assists in this game, and again, a lot of that came in the fourth quarter. So I guess let's look ahead now to game 7, the all-decisive game 7, the first one in 9 years.
Can I say one thing before we do move on?
Yes.
And it is about OKC because if we want to nitpick, I can say something like how never mind. We'll get that because I can preview that. But for this game particularly, the Thunder, they didn't rebound. They should have the rebounding advantage.
Yeah,
and
right.
They got crushed. Like you said, TJ McConnell getting 9 boards, Siakam getting 13. Even Miles Turner got more than 2 boards this game. Like, it's crazy. Like, you can't let this happen if you have Hartenstein and Chet, man.
No, not at all. And yeah, the rebounding numbers. I mean, Holmgren led the Thunder with just 6. Then Jay Will in garbage time had 5 rebounds in the
You're
fourth
not going
quarter.
to win.
Yeah, besides that, you don't get a whole lot of rebounds. You know,
one of your biggest advantages in this series is the big men. And it's not even just the big men, because we know Siakam and Turner are really good players or great players in their own right. But you're taller, you're bigger than them. You should be able to at least make it competitive in the rebounding category.
Yeah, and in the bigger, I mean, that's why Hardenstein, I think, was good in the third quarter.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like Chet Holmgren, it's happened a few times this series where he is good to start when he's taking it to the basket and taking layups, but then later on in the game, when he tries to make the same moves and tries to get the little bump into Turner, Siakam and Turner are bigger than Chet Holmgren with their size and physicality, and when they bumped Chet off his spot, he couldn't do anything. He could not do anything. They stopped him perfectly. And, you know, that's something that can't hold for the Thunder if they, you know, want a chance to win a title here on Sunday night. But let's get into it, man. Game 7 on Sunday, 8 o'clock on ABC for all the marbles. Pacers Thunder back in Oklahoma City. 2 teams looking to win their first NBA championship in their current state. First thing that we should talk about, I guess, this game, I guess let's talk about the overall history of it. This will be the 20th Game 7 in NBA history, the first again in 9 years. The home teams are 15-4 in the previous 19 Game 7s. And for Oklahoma City, obviously it's a dominant loss here, a bad loss here in Game 6. But they've been the best team in the league all season long at bouncing back after losses. They're 18-2 after losses, including, games, in these playoffs as well. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is, what does OKC need to do to make sure that whatever happened in Game 6 doesn't happen again? First, with the turnovers, because it seems like the turnovers are the biggest talking point of this series. Ben, what does OKC need to do to make sure that they don't turn the ball over, by like 21 times like they did in Game 6?
Well, they should get back to more than what they did in Game 5 was, don't really go with ISO ball, but don't play it like 2/5 of a tempo. Really just get the ball moving to guys. Try to get Shea and J-Dub going to where they could have big scoring games. Just don't really do the ISO ball. They did the ISO ball, of course, at times in Game 6, as we mentioned, and that didn't go so well for them, and I think that was predictable for the Pacers defensively to figure them out. So they just gotta be more unpredictable too, what they're doing offensively as well in Game 7.
Yeah, very true. And
Um,
really don't know what just happened. Technical difficulties. We are back. As I was saying, in Game 7s, when you get to this point, final possible game of the season, there's really no secrets with what these teams are going to do at this point. I mean, both these teams know what the other team is going to bring to the table. It just comes down to, I mean, who's going to play better? It's one game, for the title. Joey, what do you think? What do you want to see from the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has been great in this series at times? Obviously, in this game, he struggles with his turnovers, as you mentioned. What do you want to see from SGA in this Game 7?
I want to see him more aggressive, and not even just like because the aggressiveness is what gets him into the turnover battle, but like the controlled aggressiveness. If you're taking it and you're trying to draw fouls because that's your game, he always does it. But if you're not doing it, don't force it or look to pass or just don't do that. I don't know, like what Ben said, don't do the ISO ball. You do the ISO ball, that's what gets you stuck like that. You have to force it inside. Try to get some plays running. Run that offense. Get all the guys involved. Get everybody moving. That's the best way. You're the leader. You're the MVP. You're the best player on this team. Like I know J-Dub can have his moment. Any player on this team can have their moment and be the best player on the court, but you are the best player. You are the MVP. You have to have your hands on the control, and you have to do it how you want it and how you think you're going to win. You got lucky in the Game 4 when he had 0 assists. Like you said too, they shot, what was that, 3 for 17, 2 from 3. It's not, you're not going to replicate that. That was your one shot that you did, and you're lucky you got it. That ain't going to happen again. It clearly didn't happen tonight. So the recipe for success is to get all your guys involved, play smart, be aggressive, get your shot going. I know it wasn't working, but maybe try to take some easier shots and stuff. If Miles Turner and Siakam are locking down the paint because they've been playing incredible defense, I don't know. Get your mid-range game going. Come off screens. Try to get a couple threes or something. Try to get everything. Force them to come out and guard you a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think OKC can definitely be predictable at times with their offense, especially when, the Pacers are playing defense like they are, and it's just forcing the Thunder into those positions there. For Shai, definitely want to see him take his time a little more, play the game under his terms. And as a team, I think that there will be a lot of ISO ball in this game still from OKC. We're in Game 7 of the finals. Historically, these are some of the lowest scoring possible games you can get. These are very defensive minded. And just overall, both of these teams have been great, but there are going to be some nerves. I mean, it's Game 7 of the finals. None of these guys have ever been in this type of situation before, even the most experienced guys, playing for these teams. So, for OKC, I think that there is going to be some more ISO ball, but when you're giving Shai those plays, where he's going one-on-one against Nembhard or Nesmith in the post, run some action on the other side of the floor to try to get some sort of shooting open, like get J-Dub running from the corner to the top of the key, or have him coming on a curl, or Hartenstein does a little, they do a pick and roll in the corner. Just something else to where, more guys are getting involved, because role players play better at home, but you need to get them going. It's not always about them to get going. It's not like Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins or Cason Wallace are going to get theirs by, creating their own shot. They kind of got to get their shot made for them. Same with Hartenstein and even Holmgren at points, and Lou Dort in that starting lineup. It's on Shai and J-Dub to get those guys going from the very start, for those guys to have a chance. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with what you said there, Miles. And it's going to be huge for a few Thunder Rule guys to come out and have a huge game. I mean, I think if a few Thunder Rule guys could come out and be phenomenal, have future games that they would have a good shot at taking Game 7. Like Aaron Wiggins, I mean, I've seen him in home games for OKC get on fire for free. Oh boy, if he can get on fire for free this game, watch out. I mean, I think the Pacers are going to be in trouble if that happens. And save, say if Alex Caruso was back to his thing, forcing the turnovers and they're getting out well in transition, the Pacers can't run that either. That's for sure. That Caruso does that, has a big game. The Thunder are going to have a good shot off of that too.
Yeah, Thunder are going to have to play their brand of basketball and dictate that that's going to be how the game is played from the beginning. You know, you can't come out and the Pacers are, playing fast immediately from the jump. And not even just the first 4 minutes, because we saw it in cases like this game where first 4 minutes, OKC looks good and they're playing their brand of basketball. Pacers can't hit a shot to start. Then after that, it's Indiana the entire rest of the way. So OKC's got to make sure that they dictate the tempo from the very start. On the Pacers side of things, once again, they are going to be the underdogs in this Game 7. You know, there's no other way around it. Joey, what do you think are going to be the keys for Indiana to get the upset and complete this incredible playoff run with a championship?
I think you're not going to have another game like this because, like we've said this entire series, it's your favorite thing, Miles. Role players play better at home. So you're not going to have 20 points, 12 points out of TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin. It's just not going to happen in the next game. If it does, then that's absolutely crazy. Like, you give them all the credit in the world. But I just don't see that happening. But one guy besides Tyrese Halliburton, because if he doesn't have it going and he's not aggressive and running the offense, it's a very, very tough uphill battle for Indiana. But one guy who I think needs to have a big game if Indiana wants to stand out, and it's Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin played a great game in game 3, and that was at home. I realize that. But since then, he hasn't done much. He had 2 points tonight. Everybody else had it going. He had 2 points. Right.
He has not been. He hasn't been good since Game 3. That's
Yeah, he needs to get it going. He is such a huge spark plug and an X factor because if he gets it going, he's almost like one of your third best players because he can just spread the floor. He can be aggressive. He starts hustling more. He'll be scrappy and everything. Like he turns everything for them. So, and it just puts so much more pressure on the Thunder if they have to worry if Halliburton has it going, or if he doesn't, then now we can just stick with Siakam and try to slow him down. But if Benedict Mathurin and Halliburton get it going, that's going to be real tough. It's going to be real, real tough for him.
Yeah, Mathurin is definitely going to be huge because, he hasn't been good since Game 3, and you mentioned he is very important because when he has it going, like we saw in Game 3, he can be the best player on the floor in different games, but there's a reason that why he's not, at the echelon of players, all those other guys. You got to be consistent with it, and he has not been in this series. Tyrese Halliburton's health is going to maybe be the number one decider in this game, because doctors have said, this is a week-long injury, normally that it takes to recover here, and he's gutting it out here in the finals and going to play in the biggest game of his life with this injury. First up, prayers that he does not suffer a more serious injury playing through this. That would just be terrible. But it's going to be super important that just like in this game, even with the injury concerns, he comes out aggressive, looking for his shot early. Because even when he does that, he's going to be able to get his other guys involved later in the game, like we saw throughout Game 6. So his health is going to be huge because if he doesn't have it, the Pacers probably aren't going to have it, unless there's the possible scenario where Tyrese Halliburton comes out in game 7, doesn't look good to start. The Pacers get off to a rough start, and he says, all right, I don't have it. I'm feeling sore in the calf. I can't be out on the floor. Andrew Nembhard and TJ McConnell are both capable of having great games, maybe not consistently, throughout large stretches, even though we have seen it in these playoffs. But for one game, those two guys, I think, can be trusted to have incredible performances when it matters the most. We saw them do it in last year's playoffs when Halliburton was down in the conference finals against Boston. We're seeing it again here as Joey's got the thunder and lightning in the
I was
back.
about to say, I've been turning around. I can hear how loud this rain is. And then I saw the thunder and lightning in the reflection. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, y'all seeing this too?
Maybe that's a sign. maybe that's a sign.
Shouldn't be glazing the Pacers too much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. But Ben, talking about the Pacers, what are some keys and X factors for the Pacers in this game? Who are some players that you think need to have that type of game? Maybe besides Siakam and Halliburton, those two guys are going to be important. Which role player needs to show out on the road for the Pacers?
Good question. I would have to say it would be Toppin. He's had some good games off the bench throughout the playoffs in these finals. And I think if he has another good game off the bench and impacts the Pacers on both ends of the floor, well, that it could make a difference. It could be huge for the Pacers. I mean, especially because it's harder for the role guys on the road. I mean, some role guy like Obi Toppin, as Joey said before, just somehow has a great game. Man, that could make the difference on who wins the game. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we've mentioned so many players, it shows how deep the Pacers are and how many wild cards you can get, even if just one or two or three of those guys have it going, that could really make a difference for the Indiana Pacers. On OKC's side of things, I mean, there's no secret. I think their star duo of Shea and J-Dub need to go crazy. I mean, we saw in Game 5, they combined for 71 points. Maybe it's not that many in Game 7, but they both need to be on their A game because, like I've said, even coming into this series, I feel like the determining factor in all these games has been, out of the top 3 performers of each individual game, which team has more of those guys, in the game. And for OKC, I think Shea and J-Dub need to be included in that top 3 because if they're not, then it's going to be difficult because the Pacers have, again, all those wild card guys that can play well, and make the difference. But for OKC, it's those top 2 guys and then just a third guy to have it going from 3 defensively and rebounding, wherever that is. I think that's what it is. Shea and J-Dub need to play great, and then they need to get that third guy from somewhere throughout their lineup to provide a spark at home. Those fans are going to provide the spark as the 6th man. That's going to be one of the greatest atmospheres we've seen in quite a long time, a Game 7 in OKC in the finals for a title. The Thunder need a third guy on the floor along with their 2 All-Stars.
That third guy is going to be that 6th player that crowd is going to be absolutely rocking. I can't wait. I low-key think it might be like Alex Caruso personally, just because he's the experienced guy on OKC. He is the guy that needs to step up for them when it comes in clutch, just because he's the only guy that's been in the finals, I think, before, right? He's the only guy that's won a championship. So he is the one that should be like, guys, even though he hasn't been in a Game 7 and high pressure, his teammates with LeBron, he probably got some insight. But I'm looking for Caruso and the hustle and rebounds. Because like I said before in this game, the rebounding, usually it should be OKC's. But the rebounding and the hustling, man, that's a hustle stat, in my opinion. A lot of the rebounds, especially the offensive rebounds, that is, especially if you're seeing TJ McConnell get 9 rebounds, that should all that tell you that you're not hustling enough. Because that man is clearly just doing laps around and just getting the ball and passing it off, getting the ball, passing it off, and it's doing wonders for them.
No question. No question. Ben, how about you? Who's the other guy for OKC that you think needs to have that big game here in Game 7?
I'm thinking, well, I mentioned this guy before, kind of, but I think Kieran Wiggins, I mean, it's like when he can get it going for free and play well defensively, oh, that could just make a huge impact from OKC. We've seen it from him before at home games for OKC. When he really gets it going, when he's feeling it, when he's knocking down his 3-point shots, they tend to win. They tend to just look dominant off of that. And if he can do that once again for one more game in Game 7, try win it all against the Pacers, I mean, I think they would really have a good shot. He's a big X factor coming into it for OKC.
Yeah, I will go with Chet Holmgren for the Thunder because, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy as far as scoring. He hasn't had a big scoring game yet in these finals, but he's had to change his role a little bit because of how the Pacers are defending him. But the games that he's played well in are the games where he is getting involved on the glass and on the defensive end, blocking shots. Looking at Game 5, 9 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks. He shot 4-15 from the field. He shot horrendous from the field, but had a great impact. Same thing in the huge Game 4, 14 points, 15 rebounds. Only took 9 shots, but he had an impact because of the other things that he's doing out there. And going back to the 3 previous finals Game 7s that we've had a player that has made a huge impact by getting a lot of rebounds and being a defender while not necessarily having the best offensive game. Most recently, 2016 NBA Finals for Cleveland, Kevin Love was having a pretty rough series, had the concussion, was having a rough time getting it going against the Warriors. So in Game 7, he was able to get it going because of rebounding. He had 9 points and 14 rebounds in that game. In the 2013 finals, the previous one before that, Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer, didn't score a point in Game 7, but had 7 rebounds and had a huge impact on the game because of his defense. Even going back to 2010, 18 rebounds for Pau Gasol when the Lakers won. So I think we need a performance like that from Chet Holmgren, where even though he may not have it going shooting from the field, he has it going on the glass and defensively that helps his team pull out the victory. And we could even see the same thing from Miles Turner on the Pacers side because he's had some of those games as well.
100%. Both of those guys, sometimes if they don't have it going shooting, they just disappear. That's something we saw. Like tonight, Miles Turner didn't have a great night shooting the ball, it seemed. But defensively and rebounding, defensively, he was fine and he was fantastic. So you're absolutely right. Those two guys, for either team, regardless of how they're shooting, they need to impact this game.
Yeah, to your point, Miles Turner, 1 for 9 from the field, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks. Felt like he had a great game. It felt like he had a really good game. Meanwhile, Chet Holmgren has slightly better numbers, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 for 9 from the field, and it was horrendous. It was horrendous out there. So they're going to need their big guys to show up in this game. Before we move on here, we got to make Game 7 predictions. Again, Sunday night, 8 p.m. on ABC from OKC. Joey, what are you thinking, man? You made your prediction before the series about what would happen if the Pacers won Game 1. Are you sticking to it?
I hear the thunder all around me, but I am sticking with my prediction because I've been right. I've called the last 4 games. I know exactly what's going to happen. I think it's going to be the Pacers. I truly do. I don't know why. I'm low-key hoping for the Thunder because I don't want Indiana to win for some reason, but I truly do think Indiana's going to win. I'm praying for a TJ McConnell legacy game because the last person I want on earth to win the Finals MVP is Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like if the Pacers won, Siakam would be
I agree.
Finals MVP.
Or TJ McConnell. Just I'm putting the narrative out there. He's gonna have like 20 points, 5 steals, like 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Legacy game.
Dude, if that were to happen, this might be if the Pacers were to win this Finals, this might be the first time ever where we have 3 Pacers on the Finals MVP ballot for the winner. Because who knows? Maybe some voters will think that way. Ben, what do you think? What is going to happen in Game 7? Pacers or Thunder?
Yeah, I hope we get a good game, but I'm feeling that the Thunder are gonna do it in Game 7, and a big part of why is because they got the home court advantage. The home crowd's gonna be rocking. They're great at bouncing back off of losses, and they have the superstar. They got SGA, and I think he's going to make a big difference in this one. I think he's going to go off and have a big game, and I think some role players are going to step up like Caruso. I'm feeling like Caruso is going to be in for another great game in Game 7. He knows how to win in big clutch scenarios, makes big defensive plays in clutch scenarios, and I think the Thunder are gonna be better defensively too. I think they're gonna get back to more so looking like the dominant Thunder defense, like they tend to look like in the playoffs, and that's gonna give the Pacers some trouble. And I just think that's gonna give them the edge, but you never know. It's hard to pick against the Pacers, so Joey might be right. He might be onto something.
I'm just saying, if this is the last final, if this is the first Finals Game 7 since 2016, we just had the 19th was the 9-year anniversary of 2016. I'm just saying, the away team could win, even though it's very, very highly unlikely.
I mean, it could. This is going to be very close. I really don't know myself what to pick here. It's just so tough. I mean, these two teams have been incredible in the playoffs. I mean, in the calendar year 2025, these really have been the best two teams in the league, for the last 6.5 months. And it all comes down to one game. I think I'm going to go OKC, though. I'm going to go OKC. I mean, they have been the best team all season long. And, for anyone that, may question whether or not the regular season matters, you play all the games to get the final game at home in front of the fans. And the Thunder have maybe the best home court advantage in the league with a championship on the line. They have the MVP. They're 18-2 after losses. And I mean, a couple of things. They have the experience. They don't have the championship, the finals experience of playing in a game like this, but they do have the experience of having a chance to close out a series on the road in Game 6, losing, and then winning Game 7. We saw that in Round 2 against Denver. They had a chance to close it out in Game 6. They lost and then put a beat down on the Nuggets in Game 7. We could see the same thing happen here. I would not be surprised if the Thunder had a crazy performance to close out this series in Game 7. I really think the home court is going to play a huge difference. I mean, their home court is just so incredible. In the playoffs, they're, I think, 10-2 at home. And the only 2 losses at home were Game 1 of this series when the Pacers had that ridiculous comeback, and Game 1 of the Denver series where the Nuggets had that incredible comeback. They've had 12 home games in these playoffs, and the only 2 losses were by a combined 3 points in shots made in the final second. I mean, this team doesn't really play around at home, and their only losses come when, there are historic comebacks on the other side. Maybe we'll get another one in this Game 7, but I'm going to go with OKC. I think the best team in the league all season is going to pull it out. But man, I can't wait for this game.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. Again, Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals, Sunday night, 8 o'clock on ABC, Pacers and Thunder. Wow. It's just so crazy that after, 8 months, of basketball, regular season and playoffs, comes down to just one game to decide the champion, and we've got that on Sunday. Cannot wait for that one. We will be back on Monday to talk about that Game 7. But before we get out of here, I thought quickly before we have the Game 7 that we would have some playoff awards for 2025. Have some of the traditional awards from the regular season and give them out to these players for their performances in these playoffs, because it has been an incredible playoffs with all the upsets, the close games, and just some of the individual series that we have had. So some playoff awards here, starting off. Let's start off with the playoff rookie of the year, the player that's had their best playoff debut this year. And we tried coming up with some other players to have on this top 3, but we had to go with Cade Cunningham. There really was no other option here for the Pistons. He was just incredible this playoffs in round 1.
I can't wait to see the Pistons in the future, as much as it hurts as a Cleveland fan, because growing up as a Cavs fan in the early 2000s, we hated the Pistons. But Cade Cunningham is going to be a superstar in this league if he's not already. And we just got a small little taste of what it could look like with like a decent coach and a decent team around him. And it was incredible to watch. He rose to the moment. They just need a little more experience and stuff. So I can't wait for the next upcoming years that we're going to see him.
Yeah, no question about it. So all these other awards, we have, 5 other awards. We came up with a top 3 for these awards. So we'll figure out which player deserves these awards. I guess next, let's go to the 6th man of the playoffs. 6th man of the playoffs, the best bench player this year. Top 3 nominees, we've got TJ McConnell, who may or may not win the finals MVP. Alex Caruso from OKC, and then Naz Reid from Minnesota. So out of those 3 guys, Ben, who do you think has been the best bench player of these playoffs?
It's a good question. I'm gonna hit the lean to TJ McConnell, because he scored well. He came in game throughout these playoffs, especially the finals, and has got on a roll scoring at times, knocked down some big shots, and he just, it's just such a great leader off the bench and for the whole Pacers team, and it's just so impressive the steals he could come up with defensively and how pesky and great he can be defensively.
Joey, how about you? Who are you going with here? You going with your boy TJ?
I will have to. The other guys are great, but this man is every single time on the biggest stage is either the catalyst or has a huge benefit from just an incredible Pacers run that has kept them alive and forced a Game 7. He is a big reason that they're there. Every time he's out there, he gets it going defensively, sometimes offensively, just inspiring others. And always, like I said, he's the Robin to someone else's Batman, it seems, from the second unit, because it always seems someone else scores and maybe outshines him, but we know who actually got it going for him.
Yeah, man. It's tough between TJ and Caruso, who are, of course, still playing right now.
Yeah.
Man, because Caruso has stepped up his game from the regular season to these playoffs. I mean, he's had 2 20-point games in the finals as well. TJ's been great too, man. I've loved watching how he's played in these playoffs. He's one of my favorite guys to watch coming off the bench, and just the speed that he plays with the defensive tenacity. Man. I'll go with TJ, man. We'll go 3 for 3 here.
It's a sweep.
The sweep here with TJ McConnell. Just his incredible impact. Man, how is he 32 years old playing like a rookie out there? It's just crazy.
You know he doesn't get the Andre Iguodala treatment until someone goes on First Take and makes an outlandish statement with his name in it. Be on the lookout tomorrow, everybody.
I want TJ.
I want TJ.
I want TJ. That's what it's going to be. All right. Now let's move on to defensive player of the playoffs. And once again, we got 3 guys that are playing right now. Miles Turner and Andrew Nembhard from the Pacers and Alex Caruso once again from OKC. Ben, who are you going with here? Defensive player of the playoffs.
We got to give Alex Caruso on this one. Just, man, the impact he's made in some games by forcing turnovers and then getting steals to help lead the Thunder out of transition. No, man, just masterful defense. And I remember the game 7 against Denver where Caruso was just getting on Jokic. He playing great defense on Jokic. It's such a big mismatch. I mean, he's just guarding all different guys super well. It's just been not unbelievable on that end. He's just impressed me the most out of anybody defensively in these playoffs.
Joey, what do you think?
Yeah, Caruso's probably my second guy. He's right there with, like, I get it because he is phenomenal. You even see it in the fight, like you said about Jokic. Like, it's the same thing. You see him out there guarding Siakam a lot of the time too. Like, he's the best defender that sometimes they have, big or small. Like, they just have to put him on the best guy. But I have to go Andrew Nembhard personally, just because of the on-ball, just the eye test for me. The way he is, just his numbers may not say it, and he may like sometimes be just an offensive guy, it looks like, but every single game, look at Shea's numbers, look at the turnovers, look at his shot efficiency, because Nembhard is right on him, doesn't let him get an inch of space, forces him to not even give the ball up, and forces him into iso ball half the time. Like, it's so a lot of the things, like we can talk about the Pacers team defense, but if his hands are in the way and the way he's guarding, he can't get the ball to his teammates. And he just has to do iso ball and try to get a foul and stuff like that. And him getting tip passes to force turnovers. Shea is the MVP, and he's going to get his no matter what. But it's almost very reminiscent of, I know I mentioned him so much, but Andre Iguodala, like when he was like the LeBron stopper. Like, LeBron's going to get his, but you make it as difficult as you can, and he is doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith are like the 2 reasons why the Pacers are able to play the way they do defensively, picking the guards up full court, and they've done it all playoffs long, and Nembhard has definitely been a big part of it. And, of course, Turner inside, who's top 3 on this. Man, I think for the versatility, I'm going to go with Alex Caruso, because I honestly forgot about the Jokic.
Yeah.
Him defending Jokic in game 7 of that series, but that was huge. I think defensively, he's a huge reason why the Thunder are able to get out in transition after forcing turnovers a lot. I mean, the Thunder, it may be easy to forget because of, obviously what just happened in game 6 of the finals, but against Minnesota, Denver, and Memphis, the 3 previous rounds, the Thunder have completely dominated at times with their defense and forcing turnovers, and Caruso maybe number 1 in these playoffs, with forcing turnovers like that for that team. So I'll go with Caruso, but Nembhard, man, I've become a big fan of Nembhard these last 2 years with his playoff performances.
Yeah, can't be mad at Caruso. Definitely a tough choice between the 2 of them. And no disrespect to Turner. Even though his offensive game and the rebounding, I love to just make fun of him for it. It's so just, dude, come on. But his shot blocking is a very big deterrent of why a lot of OKC just can't get easy buckets, because they can't go inside.
Yep, absolutely. Moving on here. Another one that has some candidates, but we probably know who the number 1 guy is. The clutch player of the playoffs. Tyrese Halliburton, man. Tyrese Halliburton. There really are no other options here. 4 game winners in 1 playoffs, man. 4 game winners in 1 playoffs in each series, and 3 of them on the road in 3 of the most toughest places. It's absolutely incredible. Is he the clutchest player in the league? Is he the clutchest player in the league right now? Do we have to give him that title with how he's done in the playoffs?
feel like you have to because it's the playoffs and this is the end of the playoffs. So definitely right now he's the clutchest player. And I know we came up with other names like Aaron Gordon, who had some game winners, Jalen Brunson, who is obviously insanely clutch, we know. But I was joking in the pregame. It's Halliburton, and Halliburton because there are no other options.
No, I mean on here, yeah, it's Aaron Gordon and Jalen Brunson is 2 and 3, and yeah, Aaron Gordon 2-game winners in crazy fashion to start the playoffs. And then of course Brunson, the clutch player of the year during the regular season, did it again at times in the playoffs. But Tyrese Halliburton, you can't go against this near perfection in those moments. It might actually be perfection with all those shots. So shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, man. Has definitely not overrated. I think we all know that by now, and everyone should know that by now. Next one, second to last one, the coach of the playoffs. The coach of the playoffs. Of course, the two coaches that are there right now, Rick Carlisle and Mark Daigneault, have been incredible for their teams. And we also put in Tom Thibodeau, who, of course, got fired, but did coach the Knicks to their first conference finals in 25 years, knocking off the defending champion Boston Celtics. So, Joey, who are you going with for the coach of the playoffs?
Shout out Tibbs to get fired, man. I feel bad for you, but honestly, I didn't expect you to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, so very much a huge honor. But it's, in my opinion, it's got to go Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is such a phenomenal coach. He seems to be pushing all of the kind of right buttons for this team. He's inspiring all the players to play better. I remember, as much as I don't like the broadcast, when listening to it, they were pointing out even just about Obi Toppin and his game and how far he's come. They got him for 2 second-round picks from the Knicks, and now look at him. He's the leading scorer and helping them force a game 7. And this isn't his first good game in this finals. In this playoffs, he's had many, many games so far where he is just absolutely putting on a display offensively and with his freak athleticism. But it's not just him. It's Nemhard, Reed Shepard, everybody. Neesmith. Like, he's getting the most out of every single person. When you look at if you look at the odds and stuff, I'm curious because I haven't seen it. How many times have the Pacers been favored in this series? Because look at that stat, and you could point to how great these players are playing. But if these players are playing great, then that means the coaches are putting a plan in place for all these players to be great and to be themselves and to put a plan in place to them to perform at their best. Like, he is getting the absolute most and best out of every single of these players. It is just phenomenal to watch. I've had huge respect for Rick Carlisle, one of my favorite coaches ever, and he's doing it again. Masterclass.
Yeah, I'll go Rick Carlisle as well. I went back to look. They have not been favored once in this series. They were favored twice in the conference finals and favored 0 times in the second round against the Cavs.
And now they're going to a game 7 in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
This is an underdog story, and I Rick Carlisle has been incredible. Did not realize, learned something new during the blowout fourth quarter. Did not know that Rick Carlisle, oldest head coach in finals history, did not know that. 65 years old.
65?
Yes, that's what they said on the broadcast.
I'll be honest, I thought he was like in his young 50s, not gonna lie.
No, Rick Carlisle, 65 years old, oldest head coach in finals history. Wow. I mean, I don't know who else I would have guessed there. Maybe Pop in 2014.
That's what my guess would have been.
But no, now it's Rick Carlisle, and he's done an incredible job with that Pacers team, hoping to get his second NBA championship in similar fashion. Ben, how about you? Who's your coach of the playoffs?
Mine would have to be Rick Carlisle too. It's hard to pick against him. He's just been unbelievable. He just does a great job at getting his players motivated to keep going, and the really impressed with the way he's helped his team get all the way here. It's impressive they got to the finals and forced the game 7 down. This just so good OKC team that played such good defense, and was also really impressed with the ways they played against the other teams they played before the finals and the first round. I mean, in the earlier rounds, like like especially against the Cavs. The Cavs fan, I mean, I was just shocked in the second round with what they did against us, and the even better game plan Rick Carlisle had on the Cavs than we did.
Yeah, he's probably been the best coach in these playoffs and definitely deserving of that title. And then finally, most valuable player of the playoffs. There are a decent bit of candidates here. I feel like we could maybe even turn this into top 5 players of the playoffs. Maybe make an all playoff team here. The 3 guys that we named here to start were, of course, the MVP of the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Pascal Siakam, who's obviously on the Pacers, has been probably, their most consistent player. And third guy we had was Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, who, again, has been incredible. He was in our clutch player conversation there. I guess out of those 3 first, who has been the best player in these playoffs? Who do you guys think?
I'm probably leaning closer to Shai just because he's put up the better performances overall. If it sucks to say, because even if the Pacers win the finals and all that kind of stuff, and Siakam has another 20-plus point game, he's the most consistently best player on that team, but he hasn't been the best player in the playoffs just because they wouldn't be anywhere without Shai. They really wouldn't be even close. Regardless of how many great games J-Dub has had, in some games that he's even been better, J-Dub, even with the last game where both of them had crazy games, it wasn't like it was a massive 20, 30-point blowout like it was kind of tonight, and both of them went off. I just think sometimes when Shai goes off and has a better game, sometimes just everybody else, he stands taller above the rest. It seems like a better game, but I don't know. It's very tough just because everyone's been playing kind of very consistently around the same level, where all the best players are at the top of their game, but no one's really standing above anybody else.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Ben, what do you think? Who do you think's been the best player in these playoffs? Do you agree with Joey that it is the MVP, Shai?
Yeah, I agree. He's just continues, for the regular season, just such good play offensively, here in the playoffs, and he's just one of the best players in the league, and he's just continued to show that really in the playoffs. I mean, it's just so hard to stop offensively sometimes to getting the free throw line. He's just unbelievable still.
Yeah, so I'd go Shai as well. And then I might go Brunson number 2 as second best player in these playoffs overall. I don't know. That one's super tough. I think these last 2 spots on this all playoff team are definitely difficult. Siakam, I think, has to be on there because he's been so incredibly efficient and consistent on this finals team. But the last 2 players, I'm kind of leaning towards Nikola Jokic and Donovan Mitchell as my last 2. Without, Jokic was still incredible. I mean, it's crazy to think with how great the Thunder have been. The Nuggets took that team to a game 7, and a lot of that was on Jokic's back. He had some more incredible games. And Mitchell, obviously, the Cavs didn't make it, as far as we all wanted them to or all thought they would, but in the second round against this Pacers team that's 1 win away from a championship, he averaged 34 points per game against this Pacers defense that we've been giving so much credit to. And even going back to the first round, I know it was against the Miami Heat, so it wasn't much of anything, but it was the most dominant playoff series victory in NBA history, and he was a big part of that as well. So combined, even though the team didn't get as far as we thought, he was still incredible. I mean, he ended up averaging 30 in the entire playoffs, 34 in the second round, and that's even with a rough game 4 in there. He was ridiculous. So, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there are different guys that should be in the top 5 here?
I definitely agree with the Jokic. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize Donovan Mitchell averaged that much in that second round. Otherwise, I was like, I don't really want to pick. That might be favoritism, but Donnie Mitchell's a really good option. Another one I would probably suggest maybe Ant Edwards.
True.
Just because we saw it last year, we now saw it this year of him being the best player and taking this Timberwolves team who hasn't seen a whole lot of success in their entire franchise history, and now they're back-to-back years into the conference finals. That's just, regardless of who you are as a Timberwolves fan, that's incredible progress over many years. So
yeah, definitely
Ant's another one.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that as well. Ben, what do you think? Who do you think is the final player to make that list? I think we could all agree with Jokic. Would you go with Ant Edwards or Donovan Mitchell?
Well, yeah, it's tough. I kind of forgot about it Edwards before, but I think I'd have to go like Jokic and then like Donovan Mitchell behind Shea, kind of like you vibes, because I mean, with Jokic, I mean, he's of course continued to look like one of the best players, in the world of the playoffs, and it's pretty impressive how he led the Nuggets to going all the way to a Game 7 against this Thunder team. Look how good the Thunder have been all year. I mean, he's just unbelievable. It's insane what Jokic can obviously do at times with the scoring and the passing and the rebounding. He can do everything, of course. And then Donovan Mitchell, just because I know the Cavs, they overall didn't play great as a team in the second round against the Pacers, but I mean, scoring still just unbelievable. You're right. I mean, it was just so impressive how he put up that many points against the Pacers defense. It was just unfortunate we couldn't take advantage more of that, and by not taking more of it one game in that series.
Yeah, no question. But let us know what you guys think. Who should make that final spot on that team? Man, I'm looking back at this Donovan Mitchell second round. He had the 12 points in game 4, but besides that, 33 points, 48, 43, and 35. I mean, the man was on a mission, and he was also dealing with a calf strain in that series as well. So definitely a lot of great performances in these playoffs. Let us know what you guys think. But the only thing that we're looking ahead to now is Game 7 on Sunday. Pacers, Thunder, again, 8 o'clock on ABC Sunday night. We will be back to talk about Game 7. We will have a champion crowned, and then we'll have to start talking about NBA draft and offseason stuff. But until then, let's enjoy this Game 7, man. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Shout out to the Lakers' new owners. They just had the giant sale of the bus. The Bus family just sold it for $10 billion.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. What Jeannie Buss said, she's going to stay on as governor for the Lakers, which is good because Lakers without the Buss family just doesn't seem right, personally. But what do you quickly? What do y'all feel about? Because I am personally not a fan, but that's only because the same group that owns that, the TWG Global and Walter that owns that, the Lakers, Dodgers, Sparks, they also own my soccer club, Chelsea, and they kind of ruined it. So I'm not a big fan, but what do you think?
Ben, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think it's cool for the Lakers. I mean, look, I mean, I don't know, maybe family do some more about baseball or just LA or something. I don't know. I mean, look at the Dodgers. I mean, baseball. I know this isn't a baseball podcast, but man, they've just been amazing for so many years consistently recently under that ownership group with owning them. They've just had like superstars in baseball constantly for so many years now. But the hope now with the Lakers that they can hope to keep that going with the Lakers. Now, I mean, LeBron, I mean, he's kind of close to being done, but they'll have Luka, of course, going forward, and I'm sure that ownership group really hope that, well, maybe eventually, we could recruit more stars and put another star like next to Luka or something in the future, to try and make the Lakers super good and competitive like they have the Dodgers are over multiple years just consistently.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the timing of this. It's kind of with Luka Doncic coming in, midway through the season unexpectedly, and then this, changing of the guards there for the owners of the Lakers. I kind of like it that we're kind of in this new era here, and that regardless of who owns this Lakers team, I mean, they're going to do what they have to do to get more banners up, up there for LA. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do going forward. They've just been set perfectly. I mean, 2025 really has been a great year for the LA Lakers, despite them, disappointing in the playoffs. It's been an incredible year for them. So I'm excited to see what happens now with the new ownership group.
I was gonna say, even though I'm not a fan because they ruined my soccer club, European soccer is completely different than just American sports. You invest they're going to invest a lot of money, so the Lakers fans are going to be happy. Just like you said with the Dodgers, Ben, there's no salary cap in baseball. They're going to invest all the money because they have all the money, and it's going to be great for them.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, I think that's all we got here today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA Finals content. We will be back. Until then, enjoy Game 7, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.